Alright, today I'm going to be listening to a short orchestra piece by Corey Reeder. It's titled Still Life in Brief, and it's from 2020. Corey and I were colleagues at the University of North Texas. If you want to know more about him, the first episode on his work is subtitled here, so check out that episode of his Pierrot ensemble piece, Messier. This piece is scored for 2222, 4331, timp, percussion, piano, and strings. And I believe the percussion is, it's two percussionists. So vibes and bass drum for percussion 1, tam-tam for percussion 2. And there's no doublings to speak of, but the trumpets are in B flat, strangely. Yeah, on some of the performance notes, a lot of care has to be taken for everything to be played extremely quietly in this piece, and I believe I heard this in a reading session at UNT, and the conductor spent a good 3 minutes just coaching the ensemble to play as quietly as Corey is directing them here, and I think that conductor did a pretty good job of that, but it's just something to be aware of if you want to put this piece together. Vibes and piano are to pedal all the way through the piece, and you can see when you start looking at the score that it's all these swells on long sustained tones, starting at triple pianissimo or niente, and they all sort of I think the highest dynamic in the whole piece is a mezzo piano. No, there's a mezzo forte, but really, with Corey's music, you should be taking all the dynamics down a couple levels, so that mezzo forte is going to be more like a piano. The program note's pretty short here. He says he is combining his interests in abstract music with romantic music, so it's reminiscent of the Romantic period of orchestral writing in its colors and harmonic material, and there's something sort of dreamlike or memory-like in the piece, and he talks about some minimalist artists such as Agnes Martin that inspire the piece. So yeah, if you scroll through it, and I can do that because this is free on his website, you can kind of see that the orchestration is a little bit conservative. The strings are playing almost the whole time, and they're colored by the winds. There's a bit of a brass moment here, I think. Yeah, but it's also very dense. Well, it is all the individual instruments have to be split up because all of the entrances are different in each instrument, so, and there's this kind of divisi in every member of the string family, so it's not as textural as Atmospheres by Ligeti, but it's sort of somewhere in between that type of orchestrating and just ordinary orchestra. If you want to link to the recording, it's in the description, and this is a short listen today. It's just 6.5 minutes. Okay, so this recording was of the University of North Texas Symphonic Orchestra, conducted by J. Calloway Seislak, and I thought it was a really good interpretation of this score, and it's really fun, sort of accessible piece that I think a lot of audiences would really resonate with a lot of audiences. There's enough texture there to grab your attention with the piano and vibraphone stuff in the foreground, and there's a lot of nice, really low, luscious string stuff, and using the extreme lower register of the ensemble. It's obviously a very serious sounding piece. There were no particular moments in the winds or brass that stood out to me, because they kind of just blended so well with the string sound at that dynamic. I will say it does sound intuitively written. It doesn't sound like process music or anything like that, or it doesn't sound extremely minimalist either. So I think his description of it being like romantic kind of makes sense. Because I can't think of any other reason to explain the harmonies that happen. He does have additional thoughts on the piece, which he wrote after the program note. So he did this piece at an extremely productive time right before the COVID pandemic, and he was able to take advantage of the orchestra readings before that happened. And apparently this was one of 5 orchestra pieces, though 2 of them were discarded. And the other 2 pieces that are from this time in his composing was Walls of Brocade Fields, which is one that I do have the score for and we can look at, and also a piece called The Afternoon Lasts Forever, which I'm not familiar with. And here he says, I'm not trying to force a sentimentality onto the listeners. He just has a deep attachment to harmony and harmonic structure. I mean, Corey has, as a bassist, has played in orchestras, and I'm sure has a love for the literature. And I get what he's getting at here, but I think he should just be himself. If he just wants to be sentimental or melancholic, I think he should be. Because that's sort of how the piece struck me. But, I get where he's coming from. It's a difficult balance, and also you don't want sentimentality to take over one's whole interpretation of your piece. You also want people to listen to it as just a thing that was made, and something that's Corey. Very straightforward listen, but definitely giving me some things to think about with his program notes there. Let me know in the comments if that rings true to you. And check out his score, check out some of Corey's orchestra pieces. They're free on his website. And if, I know a lot of orchestras are struggling out there right now, and rehearsal time is very precious. You could put this thing together in one rehearsal easily, and audiences would love it. So just do it, You don't have to show off to fulfill your duties to your community as an orchestra.